is up, everybody? Welcome to Bounty Hunt, a Youtini Network podcast where we hunt down all of the extra content in the Star Wars universe. I'm your host, Eric Eilerson, and joining me today is a full crew of bad batchers. First off, we have shot caller extraordinaire, Dr. Corey Helton.
Wait, what you got to do that to me, man? What you got to do?
Hey, man.
Hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. You know, I was going to comb my hair for this, but it's Bounty Hunt, baby.
I can look like absolute trash.
That's right. It's not like it's recorded on the internet forever.
No, it's not. But you know who could just walk out of a literal trash can and still be beautiful? Dr. Charles Hankel.
It's the hat. It's just the hat. That's why I didn't comb my hair either. It's fine.
It's all right. You're also wearing a shirt that is no longer relevant, but we'll get to that later. We also have master of moving his entire desk, Wes Jenkins.
What's up, everybody?
Everybody has hats on.
I have.
Yeah,
we had to change it up,
memo.
right? So Eric has glasses. You have nothing. Charles has a cap going forward.
Wow. You know what?
I have one going backwards.
I can put a hat on. Here, I'll put it on. Fine.
I had to.
Is it your pool hat?
I had to rep my team because they're doing piss poorly right now. So this is for some good juju going on this afternoon.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah,
I mean, with baseball, you can lose like the first 50 games of the season and win the World Series, right? Isn't that how it works?
That's correct.
Yeah, you can always make a wild card.
All right, Corey, that is how you wear a hat. All right, well,
Welcome
this
to
isn't here about
Welcome
talking
to
about...
the Hat Club. Where's your hat, Eric? There's
Where's your
obviously
hat,
a memo.
I'll get a hat the second I have to stop talking and carrying this show. So never.
This is a weird thing to say. I don't think I've ever seen Eric wear a hat.
I don't think I have either. Do you have hats, Eric?
Yeah, all right, hold on.
Hats?
Here, one of y'all tell everyone what Bounty Hunt's about. I'll get a
If
hat.
he comes back,
Welcome
in a
to
visor, I'm
I
gonna
can do
lose
it. I get a visor, like a color, like an accounting visor, because he works at a bank now.
All right, that sucked, all of you. All right,
There it is.
got my voice. So Bounty Hunt is about hats, and what this one is about, we're going to talk about the Bad Batch, everyone. Season 1, Episode 5, Rampage. How this show works. We're going to briefly recap what happened on the episode. Full spoilers, just so you know, and then we're going to talk about it. We'll rate it 1 to 10. We'll chat about some stuff. We'll see if it affects anything further on in the series. And of course, all our friends in the chat. Hello, our live chat. We usually try to do these at 2 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, occasional variants. But if you want to watch us live, hang out. We'd love to hear what you think about the show. All right. So, as always, we want to give a quick shout out to our very own Meg Dowell, who is writing up these recaps on Youtini.com. Literally wrote it before I woke up Friday morning. So I couldn't have done that. Well done. I was asleep. But episode 5, Rampage, starts out with our Bad Batchers hanging out in their ship. Omega gets a comm device. She gets Crosshair's personal comm device, telling everyone that she's a little more part of a squad than he is now. But the group decides to head to Ord Mantell to find an old Jedi contact Echo knows from the Clone Wars days named Sid to help identify the bounty hunter that was chasing them last episode. They crawl throughout the town, go to a little cantina, and Omega discovers the identity of Sid, a Trandoshan that has a job, of course, in exchange for the info they desire. They need to rescue a child called Mochi from some Zygerian slavers. We remember them from the Clone Wars Season 4. While trying to do so, the Bad Batch, of course, gets captured by the slavers, but Omega, who once more did not stay on the ship, she's very bad at that, breaks them out and a huge fight ensues. During that fight, we discover that Mochi is actually a baby Rancor that gets involved with the fight with the slavers, a giant dinosaur thing, and the Bad Batch. Omega gets her bow from the trailer that we saw, and Wrecker and Mochi the Rancor literally fight each other to pure exhaustion. They gather up Mochi at the end of the fight and ride him back to town, where we discover that Mochi is going back home with her new owner, none other than Bib Fortuna. And Sid tells the Bad Batch that the name of the bounty hunter going after them is Fennec Shand, who is on a personal commission and will be hunting them continuously. All right. So, fellas, let's go around. Let's give a quick 1 to 10. Charles, let's start with you. We'll go counterclockwise over the visuals. How would you rate this episode?
I'm going to give this one an 8.0.
Very solid. Wes, how about you?
I'm going to give this one also an 8.0.
All right. Corey? Corey,
cannot
unmute yourself.
hear you.
Oh,
Wow,
Wow.
what a loser. The groceries are coming in my house. Like, what? It's the
understand.
hat. It's the hat, you know. No. What's my rating? Is that the question?
Yes.
8, baby.
All right. Hey, you know what? I'll fit it 8.0s across the board. I thought this was a very solid episode. I think that it was a fun one. It was, again, one of those episodes that felt very, it is Moochie. Cheryl, you're right in the chat. Moochie, not Mochi. Moochie. This felt very Clone Wars, honestly, to me, as far as like a middle of the season single job. You know, like how'd you guys feel now? We got our ratings out of the way. We all think it's an 8. Any strong feelings one way or the other on why you gave it that rating?
Well, I think that the other episodes I've given pretty much 7s for the ones I've been here. This one I gave an 8 because yes, it was like a one-off little adventure, but there were enough little cool tie-ins to things that it just bumped it up for me. So the Bib Fortuna thing was cool. There was some Feline, right? Prince Shiver species that
Lord
was
Mantell,
cool.
that's where they're from.
Yeah, little stuff like that. Oh, and I had to give it an 8 because as soon as what's the Trandoshan's name against Sid? As soon as Sid started talking, I was like, dude, that is Matilda's mom. That is Matilda's mom. It was all I could hear, and I looked it up, and it was Matilda's mom, the woman who plays Matilda's mom. In the
How
movie
did
Matilda,
you possibly
which I love
recognize
dearly,
that?
because her voice is so distinct, and I was like, "That's her." Her name's I think it's like Rhea Perlman. I looked it up. Anyways,
Her name is Matilda's mom.
That's
Matilda's mom.
Rhea
This is
Perlman.
Wormwood.
Isn't she the bar back in Cheers? That's what that's what that is. Sorry. I mean,
all right. Well, there you go. So that's why it's an 8.0, really, because Matilda.
All right. That's fair. I want to go off of. Sorry, Wes, I'm going to cut you off. Blind Fates put in the chat just the thing I wanted to mention real fast. Just the episode again looked incredible visually. I mean, we talked a lot about the city in the last one. Totally different planet, totally different area. Yeah. But just the desert effects, the look of the stone, just this series. We're gonna get used to how good it looks. Yeah. And I don't want to get used to that because this is still mind blowing.
The slavers is where I noticed it because we've seen them before in the Clone Wars and they were visually much improved and different than they've ever looked, and it looked really, really good. Like that, even the lead guys, like he's got the eye, and it was cool, man. It was great.
They looked a lot, but they looked different with their helmets on, right? So when they had their helmets on, it was very distinct. And I was like, I didn't really notice that in the Clone Wars episode.
Have we seen Ord Mantell in the Clone Wars? Was they ever in the Clone Wars?
Oh,
I don't know the answer to that. Like as soon as they said they were going to Ord Mantell, I was like, have we really never seen Ord Mantell? Like
I don't think so. I read a synopsis of Ord Mantell on the Wook, and I don't remember him saying anything that it actually popping up
which is
in the Clone Wars.
Crazy.
I've heard of it obviously a ton of times for Black Sun.
Right, is Black Sun, and I mean Han Solo references it in Empire Strikes Back. He says you remember he's like, ever since we ran through that bounty hunter on Ord Mantell, and it's like, and it's in the Old Republic games. It's one of my favorite planets in the Old Republic games, or the MMO or whatever. Like it's like a war torn kind of planet. And I was like, I couldn't get over that. Like the first 10 minutes of the episode, I kept thinking like, Ord Mantell, we really never seen this. Is a cool planet. I'm really happy with this.
Yeah.
So it was good to get that.
It looks dope, and I want to ask you guys one thing on the start. Now, obviously, Moochie was a very much the star of the show for a lot of folks online, and there was one conversation that a lot of people were having that I thought we would obviously have to begin with, because we end with Bib Fortuna coming to get Moochie. We can a lot of people assumed, it's the Rancor from Jabba's palace. That's sad. We saw it now as a child, and then we see it dead. That's unfortunate. And there's a couple things about that. I got these both from people on our Slack channels. Alex Damon did a thing on it. The guys at Star Wars Sessions talked about it. So I've tried to get a couple takes on this. So Moochie is the name of this Rancor. It's a girl, and it's young. The Rancor in Jabba's palace, according to the Wook, according to everything, is named Patissa, which is the Huttese word for friend. This was named in Aftermath Life Debt. Malak Healy's thinking back about Patissa. So that was the name. It was a man, and it was that old Rancor. So a couple things about this. Number one, does this even matter? Because, again, canon stuff changes a lot, right? Does it change from, it changes from female to male. We're changing it in the series, whatever. Or, if it does, is it also possible that it's the same Rancor? They might have gotten boy or girl mixed up, and Jabba just renamed it a Huttese word for Patissa instead of Moochie, because you got, like Alex Damon said, you get a new pet, wouldn't you rename it? Mm-hmm. Or number 3, is it a totally different Rancor? Because Malakili trained a couple for Jabba. What do you guys think?
I mean, is this like controversial? As people,
it's not controversial. It's more so just a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, did they decide to change it?
My first gut reaction watching was like, "Oh, cool! It's Jabba's Rancor. That makes sense." But like, I mean, I don't see any reason whatsoever why Jabba couldn't have more than one Rancor. Like one,
it's not breaking.
Yeah, it doesn't break anything. And 2, there is no way that Dave Filoni overlooked the fact that Jabba's Rancor already has a name and everything. Like that's not oversight. Dave Filoni doesn't do that, right? Like I don't believe so. I mean, not so obvious like this. I mean, maybe a lightsaber color or something like that, but
we had the Kanan comic thing obviously with episode 1, and we talked about that. If you missed that, go back in your feed. We talked extensively about that for the pilot, and we got to the point where we didn't really mind it too much. We got when people were frustrated, but ultimately the story is the story. So, Alex makes a good question in the chat, and he said, did anyone else think the Rancor keeper, Malakili from Return of the Jedi, was one of the prisoners in this episode? Possibly. Never thought about it myself.
There was that one
that overweight gentleman that was there, and he was super and he was very tired when they finished running up the hill, and he had his hands on his knees.
Yeah,
he was just breathing.
Yeah, the white guy, the random white guy. That could have been him. Maybe it was.
Malakili.
Malakili. Yeah, that's funny.
I did that. Charles, what do you think? You look like you got something on the tip of your tongue.
No, I mean, I was just thinking about what you said. Maybe they got mixed up boy-girl Rancor, which, like, who in the world is going to go try to check a Rancor's gender? It's hard
Malakili.
to know. When a veterinarian tries to do that for a dog, you know what I mean? You ever seen a vet try to take a dog's temperature? Listen, try to check a Rancor's genitalia if you're trying to figure out if it's a boy
I feel like there are certain things on a Rancor that would be undeniably prominent.
Maybe
if they were male or female, at the risk of getting our video taken down.
Maybe
we don't know.
Maybe Rancor got little bitty dongs. I don't know anything about Rancor genitalia.
All right.
I'm sorry I took it there. I don't really care. I'm in the same boat as Corey in that when I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, that must be Jabba's Rancor. That is kind of sad that it's like befriending Omega, and then we know that ultimately it gets killed. But either way, it doesn't really matter.
It was gonna kill Luke. What choice did he have? I mean,
yeah. Well, I think that's ultimately the point that basically the reason I wanted to bring it up was for folks that watch us and listen to our stuff know that we kind of go by the rules that if there's a way it can make sense in our head, we'll go there. We never look for plot holes. We never look for stuff. And if they override a thing like that, it doesn't change the Bad Batch show. It doesn't change Return of the Jedi. So just to note it, if that's something that you like, because we're a bunch of nerds that like to know the names of Rancors, great. But don't let that detract from joy. Make sure it adds to something.
Maybe this is part of a grand conspiracy by Dave Filoni, right? Because everybody hero worships him on the internet. Maybe he's like, you know what? We need to calm this down a little bit. Let me piss a whole bunch of people off, and then they'll stop trying to make me head of Lucasfilm. Maybe that's what needs to happen.
Dave, that Rancor already has a name. No, I don't care.
I don't
care. Delete email.
I don't care.
What was his name? What was his name in Return of the Jedi then?
That's what we got to use.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you guys on that similar note before we move on to another part. Seeing Bib Fortuna at the end, because we see him at the end of Mandalorian as like big honkin'. I ate 3 other Bib Fortunas. Bib Fortuna.
Well, seeing him in the beginning, right? So when he came up in the hologram when he was talking to Sid,
I knew it was him.
I saw the head tails kind of over his shoulder a little bit, but then I was like, that's not a Twi'lek accent like we saw in the Clone Wars or we actually saw in Rebels too. Then I was like, wait a second, that sounds like Huttese. That sounds like
Doanawunga. A Jabba no bother.
That's got to be Bib.
One of the most quotable characters from Return of the Jedi. Let's be honest. Every single time I watch Return of the Jedi, I cannot watch it without saying Doanawunga. I say it every single time. I love it.
Notorious B.I.B.
We love Bib Fortuna here.
I can't wait for fat Bib Fortuna in the book of Boba Fett. I hope Boba Fett kills him. I hope we get to see it like Oh yeah, that's right. He
literally
does
did.
in the beginning. He did.
I hope his
super
body
good.
is just in that room the whole season, just festering.
Just
That's disgusting. Why? Maybe they eat him.
Maybe. So aside from cannibalizing Viv Fortuna, back to the Bad Batch for a hot second. Bounty hunt. I want to ask you guys about a line in this episode I found really interesting. Because Echo, when they talk about the Zygerian slavers, Echo is like, well, the Republic outlawed slavery, you know? And then they said, well, this isn't the Republic. But I thought that was really cool because as we talked in the last few episodes, we're really seeing the pretty quick shift from Republic to Empire.
Yeah.
And what did you guys think about that here on Ord Mantell specifically, which we know is like a crime planet, but it seems like they're still even getting a little looser with stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the I can't help but wonder if the recurring theme of the show is that Omega doesn't know shit about shit. Like, she doesn't know anything about anything. It's just like, I don't know.
Schools
It's
on
really
Kamino kind of suck.
apparently it's like, I mean, she's clearly like some hyper. I originally I kind of thought she was this like hyper intelligent clone that's like been trained and knows all this stuff, but like, is she a doctor? Because it kind of implied that she was a doctor.
She was very intelligent. She was
yes, but she doesn't know
were Sid,
anything
right?
about the state
Wait,
of the
you were
galaxy.
Sid.
That's just
Yeah.
I don't know.
She
It's
can
funny,
adapt
man.
pretty well,
Yeah.
you know? And I found it interesting that Echo was the one that to question that because he was the one that was like shut away for a while, obviously, like as the human computer.
Well, to be fair, this is just like different day, same crap because there were Zygerian slavers during the Republic in the Clone Wars. Like we saw that. Like there was for sure slaves during the Republic, guys. Have you heard of Anakin Skywalker? Like I mean,
yeah.
We learned, I think, in the Queen's series, like Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, that like yes, there were laws against slavery, but like everybody knows, there's for sure still slaves everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, like it didn't really jump out at me because I was just like, he's a well-traveled clone. I'm pretty sure he would have seen slavery even within the Republic.
That is a good point because there's probably not like there's not slavery in the core worlds, at least in the light of day, right?
Right.
But you go to the right level on Coruscant and things like that, which I think is also just a great, maybe one of the more Lucas-esque things because Lucas has always been very blunt about Star Wars being an allegory for the world and for a lot of things like that. Like there's always things somewhere, and if you are wealthy or well off, you don't have to deal with it or think about it. But if you go to the Outer Rim worlds, you go more places. You kind of have to reckon with that. And I mean, come on, who doesn't love seeing a bunch of slavers get their ass kicked?
Yeah,
like that's constantly going to be great. So
yeah.
And just to point out, these are the same slavers from the Clone Wars that where the queen or the head fell in love with Anakin, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And Ahsoka had to be a slave for a couple episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the cat people.
The
Cat people.
How about the head cat person that was like straight up Le Chiffre from Casino Royale? I was waiting for him to like cry a tear of blood out of his eye.
Yes, with the eye.
Oh, nice.
What a great movie.
An excellent reference. Yeah, the creature was a really great addition too. What's the thing he was riding? I have no idea what that alien's called.
It's like a variant of the Zillo Beast, is it not? Like a flying variant of the
mouth looks
Zillo
very
Beast.
similar.
Yeah, it does look very similar. It's just flying lizard, just based off those flying lizards. You know what I'm talking about? That can glide, the gliding lizards. I don't know. They're in nature documentaries. Whatever those are.
What those are called.
Yeah, we don't know what the alien's called. We don't know what the real life lizard is called. Like the recurring theme of Bounty Hunt is that we don't know shit about shit. All right, so here we go. But yeah, this thing was awesome. When using his like tail to like fight the Rancor was really cool. Like it was great.
Yeah, it was good because we had the clones fighting the Zygerians, and we had the monsters fighting each other, but also the Bad Batch then fighting the Rancor. And I loved just the comedic beat at the end of Wrecker and Mushi just like, ugh.
That was great.
Ugh.
It was great.
That was good.
I love that.
It's almost like a callback to 12th round heavyweight boxing championship fights, and they're just like, dude, just
Down
one of
goes
us
Moochie.
sit down.
At this point, we're just leaving it to the judges. Like, let's just put on a show. All right. Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, man, respect. I'll ride. But we talked a lot about the Clone Wars here. And it's funny because I actually thought of another Star Wars show watching this, which is this felt straight up like a Mandalorian episode. Like where Mando goes into a town, needs something. They're like, all right, but you got to do a job. And he's like, okay, does it, brings back the thing. And then they said, all right, here's your next clue on your mission. Like this was almost the most one-to-one Don't you think of like versus Mandalorian structure?
So this was one of the reasons why I gave it an 8, because in a good way, because this set up kind of the next good number of episodes, because now they have to do jobs for money and for alliance or friends. So they have to like build up that credit or build up those relationships. And this was the start, right? This was like when Sid said, "Hey, you either need money, you need friends," and then he's like, "Oh, well then I'll get back to you." But
do you think it's gonna be through Sid? Do you think Sid's gonna be like a constant character now? They're gonna like go back for missions and stuff?
We've been saying
it might.
We've been saying this whole time. We have no idea where the heck this show is going, and we are what episode is this? 5 episodes in, and
I think so.
I think Sid's coming back. There was an interesting thing if you look in the background while she's having a conversation. I think maybe it was with Bib Fortuna. There's a clone helmet, like an earlier phase clone helmet up on the wall.
Really?
That was rad.
So, I feel like she's gonna be a recurring element, and I think she's gonna eventually turn over the Bad Batch to Tarkin.
Because at the very end, right, she was like, "Hey, your secret's safe with me."
Yeah.
And Hunter's like,
"It's for sure."
Well, it's interesting.
That's a lie.
Because, I am a bad guy. But I also like that she gave, because now we, of course, as the audience, knew Fennec Shand. We'd seen it, but now the Bad Batch had to figure out her name some way, which guarantees that she'll be back. But she also said, I believe specifically that Fennec Shand is on like a direct commission contract. This isn't like a public bounty, it doesn't seem. Which I also found interesting because I think we talked last time that we still think there's a couple people that it could be that hired. Could be the Kaminoans, could be Tarkin, you know. We'll kind of see.
You know, did they not call Fennec Shand an Imperial like in The Mandalorian? I thought they called her an Imperial. That she like did.
Oh, in Mando?
Yeah, I thought so. Am I making that up? I thought they acted like she was she was a bounty hunter, but she like worked for the Empire a lot. I don't know. I'm gonna look this up.
Maybe.
Okay.
Sure, sounds right.
I don't.
But overall, what do you guys think about like ending that way to like, you know, kind of again reinforce Fennec's presence, reinforce that they're on the run? What do you think they're going to do with that information going forward for a little bit of speculation? Like, how does that help them?
I don't know, because like they didn't really get any new information. They were like, "Hey, we have this person chasing us. Oh wait, I know a bounty hunter when I see one." It's like, okay, now she's a bounty hunter, but does that make a difference if somebody's just running after and trying to kill you?
Yeah.
And then she's working off of commission only, direct commission. So that means like she's desperately trying to kill you, and she doesn't like get paid or doesn't eat or doesn't any of that because unless you get turned in. So there's no like salary plus commission, right? There is, you die and I get paid. That's it.
She got to renegotiate that contract. I think it's got to. Could I ask for more, Fennec? I'm just saying.
Getting the league minimum right there. I wonder if we might find something out though, because remember, obviously, Fennec Shand ultimately becomes kind of a protagonist, like someone we're supposed to root for. I wonder if we might ever learn that she's doing this for some reason that is more relatable or makes us, I don't know, pity her in some way. Like she's not just straight up evil, wants to kill everybody, right? Like she's forced into this lifestyle somehow, you know? Yeah,
except for clearly those cops on Pantora, just shot right through the heart. Yeah. Like some people gotta die.
And she's
you gotta die, you gotta die.
Yes.
It's like John Bon Jovi, right? Okay,
that's right.
Yeah,
I couldn't find anything specifically about Empire, but she was just a bounty hunter that worked like big in the early days of the Empire. Maybe it was referenced. I really thought it was, but oh well, doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know what this means. Like, I mean, I don't understand really why they're trying to find out who she is so badly either. Like they're obviously on the run from like the Kaminoans and the Empire and everybody, right? Like why is it so surprising that there's a bounty hunter looking for them? Maybe just because it's Omega specifically. That's kind of weird.
Then they maybe like ask someone about like now that they have a name, like hey, they could go to another contact. Hey, do you know about Fennec Shand? Like and stuff like that. But it is it. Oh, Dale put up a good point in the chat. There was a white Mandalorian helmet, like Boba's concept art, in her office as well. I missed that.
Oh, I didn't see that,
but this is kind of stuff I love about these episodes is that, you know, this is a pretty straight up episode, but just living in this world and seeing these little like touches they put in the background is just, again, it's not a thing I think we could have conceived of 2 years ago. that we would just get. And it's like, oh, a Star Wars TV show. Oh yeah, just get to go to Ord Mantell for 20 minutes. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
And now she has her bow, right? So she picked up that bow. I kind of noticed it last night, and then I watched it again this morning. I was like, okay, so that's how she got the bow. But how long does that energy last on that bow? Does she have to go back and pick up
battery
essence?
Can we assume that it only stuns as well? Because I guess you're not allowed to have. I don't know. There's got to be some legality about having children shoot people and kill them, I suppose, in TV shows. But like, I'm pretty disappointed by it. I want to see folks like Ezra and Omega just like kill the bad guys that are trying to murder them. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the bow has to be like, if there's like a USB-C that it can plug into the ship.
There you go.
It can charge. That'd be helpful.
A Tesla charging station at the local grocery store.
Figure something out.
Yeah, no. Echo just be like, hold on. All right, it'll charge.
He's like tired for an hour or two afterwards. Like,
oh my god,
that'd be brilliant.
Let me relax.
But overall, I think that's why we all seem to like this episode. Is that it's. It added a couple things. We got another name. We got some Rancor fun. We saw a planet that we haven't seen before but know a lot about. We saw some familiar species. We got a new weapon. Like, it's just a nice, fun, continuous episode. And I think that the guys at Star Wars Session said something interesting about this, where they're like, not every episode has to just light the world on fire. It can just be a really good, solid episode. I think the Bad Batch is really doing that nicely. And I think once it's all done, it's really going to be a fun one to be like, oh, I'm doing some work. I'll throw on that Rampage episode of Bad Batch. Like, this will be a great show just to have. Yeah. And we'll have it forever.
Agreed.
Something strange that happened at the end. Did you hear Sid say Punchin' Rudy? Like, hey, how about you, Punchin' Rudy? Come in here and talk to me at the end. And he was talking to Rambo. Like, so Punchin' Judy is like, Punch and Judy is like an old time TV show, I think, or a movie or something. And she said, "Hey, Punch and Rudy, come in here and we'll talk about the credits."
World?
No.
It's the weirdest thing.
She said dark and broody. That's what she said.
Are you sure?
I'm damn near positive.
That
Okay.
sounds more like it. However, Wes, to be clear, I like your thing better.
Yeah.
I hope that was it. Oh, okay.
Go back and look at the synopsis.
I'm pretty sure
That's
it's dark.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, the headaches thing, man. They are building on that big time. Yeah, Cheryl in the chat threw that up. I meant to bring that up earlier. Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be really bad. They wouldn't be building up this hard. I don't feel like if it
is gonna happen again.
Dude, I know. Freaking Wrecker, he's gonna turn and try to kill them all. Maybe that's gonna be a recurring theme of the show. Is like. Hunter will be the last one to turn, and then finally he turns on Omega, but like he can feel himself turning, so he makes her handcuff him to a radiator before he does it.
Oh man, zombie like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because as Dale says in the chat, Tech is still making that scanner. Like, we're still working on that to find the chips.
Allegedly,
so they know the chips are there.
Have we seen it since the last time we saw it?
By definition, no.
Yeah.
The last time we saw it is the last time we saw it.
Shut up, you know what I meant.
No, we haven't. But I think it's definitely got to be coming around. I mean, we're 16 episodes for the season, so we're about a third of the way through. So we still got plenty of time. But Wrecker does seem like now once an episode pretty consistently, he's mentioning it, and you can only ride that line for so long before he has a moment.
To be fair, he has about a million reasons to have a headache. He was punched in the face by a Rancor like 12 times at least.
Many times, yeah.
But I obviously agree. Yeah, they're playing up his chip, his inhibitor chip.
Yeah, I still think that my one theory I'll put on, because y'all know how I hate to theorize, I still think that the episode when they find Rex is going to be the episode where Wrecker either turns because Rex knows what the chips are, and like I think that's going to be how they figure out how to get them out for good. But we'll see. Thanks for bringing that up, guys. We almost missed that one, so I'm really excited and scared to see what happens with that, because Wrecker's uncle energy is so warm now, and I really hope that they let that turn into something really scary to kind of just dramatically see what that does to the characters.
Yes, she does say dark and broody. I pulled it up over here with the subtitles.
All right, dark and broody with the subtitles.
All right.
Punching Rudy is better.
I'm just thinking during the episode.
The references that you have, Wes, are just like so many layers deep. It's so impressive.
Tremendous. All right. Well, on that, any final notes on Rampage from you guys before we let the good folks in the chat enjoy the rest of their Sunday?
I never noticed that the Rancor's nose is on top of the eyes.
Me neither.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Like the nose is right on top of the eyes on the forehead. So I never noticed that in like when I watched Return of the Jedi.
Pretty adorable.
Could have been.
Yeah, you're right.
Could have been the CGI.
That's awful. Gotta say,
I hate it.
So your snot runs into your eyeballs, you know.
I also thought it was pretty funny that Omega was riding Moochie when they came back.
That
She's
was
like,
great.
Yeah, no big deal. She's
I want
that
short
Funko.
list of characters of people
they're
who have
making it.
ridden Rancors.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. We got some High Republic, and if you've not been reading the High Republic comic lately, we had some pretty epic Gamorreans riding Rancors in issue 5, I think.
Yeah.
Rancors are great mounts. I mean, starting from the Bane trilogy on, phenomenal. One of the coolest moments in all of Legends. All right, folks. Well, on that note, take your rest of your Sunday, find your own Rancor, have a ride, have some fun, and we'll see you next time because that'll do it for this week's episode of Bounty Hunt. Keep your eyes peeled for our next hunt, and we'll be diving into episode 6 of that Bad Batch next weekend. A special thank you goes out to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for their amazing support of everything we do. Go ahead, keep telling us all your thoughts about that Bad Batch in our Discord community at youtini.com/Discord. Over 1,000 members strong. Be sure to use those spoiler tags. And be sure to follow our main show on Twitter at Living Force Pod, where tomorrow night we'll be talking about Star Wars burnout and how to avoid it. And be sure to follow us all individually about our latest thoughts about all things Star Wars at Eric Eilerson, at Doc Star Wars MD, at C. Henkel, and at Boss West. Until next time, may the Force be with you.